There's a place whispered about in fear, a cursed place known only as the Forbidden. Shunned by all who hear of it, this place is sealed off from the world, marked with barricades and warnings meant to deter even the boldest explorers. But some people, blinded by curiosity, refuse to heed the warnings. One such person was a tourist, a man who sought answers where none were needed. Against the desperate pleas of his family and friends, he insisted on visiting the Forbidden. "It's just a myth," he scoffed, brushing off their concerns. On the day of his fateful journey, the tourist met the tour guide at the edge of the Forbidden, a man who had seen too much and knew better than to venture in. The guide begged him to turn back, his voice trembling as he warned, "You don't understand what's in there. Leave while you can." But the tourist was resolute. Together, they crossed into the Forbidden. From the moment they entered, something felt wrong. The air was heavy and suffocating, and the forest seemed unnaturally quiet. Scattered throughout the path were abandoned items, backpacks, clothes, and even shoes, left as if their owners had vanished mid-step. A single sign loomed ahead, its faded lettering barely legible, "Beware. Do not stay until 6 p.m. The tourist chuckled nervously, dismissing it as an elaborate joke. But as they walked deeper, the unease in his chest grew. The crunch of their footsteps was soon joined by another sound, faint, echoing footsteps that didn't belong to either of them. The guide stopped abruptly, his face pale. "We shouldn't be here," he whispered. "We need to leave now." Then came the scream. It wasn't human. It wasn't animal. It was something else entirely, a sound that made the air vibrate and sent chills crawling down their spines. The tourist froze, his heart pounding in his chest. "What was that?" he asked, his voice trembling. Before the guide could answer, the bushes rustled violently. Shadows moved where there should have been none, and the whispers began, low, guttural murmurs in a language the tourist couldn't understand, yet it chilled him to the bone. Panic set in. They turned to leave, only to find that the path behind them had disappeared. The forest had changed, twisting into a labyrinth with no way out. The whispers grew louder and closer. Shadows closed in around them. At exactly 6 p.m., the scream tore through the air again. This time, it was deafening, an otherworldly cry that shattered the last of the tourist's resolve. His vision blurred, his knees buckled, and darkness engulfed him. When he awoke, he was lying at the edge of the Forbidden. But something was off. His hands trembled as he checked the time. It was well past 6 p.m. Relief washed over him as he realized he had made it out alive. Or so he thought. As he approached his home, a sense of dread crept over him. The house was dark, the door slightly ajar. Inside, the air was thick with an unexplainable heaviness. The furniture was overturned, the TV flickering with static. And then he saw them, his family, standing by the window, their faces frozen in wide, unnatural grins. "Are you guys okay?" he asked, his voice breaking. They didn't answer. They didn't move. They just stared. The tourist tried to call 911, but there was no signal. As he turned back to his family, the grins vanished. They were lying on the floor now, lifeless, a pool of crimson spreading beneath them. He stumbled back, horrified. That's when he heard it, the scream. The same inhuman cry that had haunted him in the Forbidden, louder now, closer. He turned to run, but his legs wouldn't move. The scream grew unbearable, piercing his mind like 1,000 needles. His vision blurred once again. And this time, when he blacked out, it was forever.